In the previous showcase, we introduced the stories players discover through exploration, and the traces left behind throughout this world. In this video, we'll show how that exploration connects to combat and progression, and what kinds of bosses players will face at the end of that journey. Everything in the Relic ultimately begins with exploration. You walk the path, fight enemies, and discover the records left behind. Those records lead to new paths, sometimes to rewards, and sometimes to places where powerful bosses await. Exploration is not simply time spent moving from place to place. Exploration leads to combat. Combat leads to rewards, and the rewards lead back to new choices and deeper exploration. Combat in the Relic is not simply about reducing an enemy's health. Every enemy has its own stamina. Players can reduce enemy stamina through attacks and parries. When that stamina is fully depleted, the enemy enters the groggy state. This moment becomes an important opportunity to turn the tide of battle. But attacking blindly will not be enough to take control of the fight. When to attack, when to step back, which attacks to evade, and which attacks to parry, those decisions can change the outcome of battle. The player's stamina is not used for attacks, but for defensive actions such as dodging and guarding. The tempo of offense is created through the combination of weapons, skills, and relics. Stamina remains an important resource for surviving dangerous moments. The Relic aims for fast-paced combat, but we wanted decision-making and rhythm to remain alive within that speed. The story we face here begins with a son who hated poverty and the dust of his village. He wanted to leave behind his small, poor village and gain treasure and fame. But what he pushed away was not merely a humble meal. It was the time his mother spent working for him, the warmth of the home that waited for him, and the feelings he could never express until the end. All of it remained here, buried in the dust.
The sight of my...
The son gained fame and treasure, but the only person he wanted to show them to was no longer by his side. The dust he hated so much eventually became irreversible regret, and that regret bound him in place. At the edge of the village, before a shabby house, the player faces a being left at the end of that regret, the prodigal bound in dust. He's not simply a monster, he's the story of a man who realized too late everything he had abandoned. In both battles, the combat decisions made so far become even more important. Watch the boss's movements, evade their attacks, break their stamina with parries, and use skills and relics to create brief openings. Some bosses can evade the player's attacks, and at times they can parry and interrupt the flow of battle. Both battles are not one-sided moments of attack. They're exchanges where decisions are made in every brief moment. The boss is powerful, but he too is one of the stories left behind in this world. After defeating the boss, the player discovers the final trace of this story. The treasure and fame he pursued all his life never reached his mother.
Mother, if there is another life beyond this veil, I beg you, let me be your son once more.
The hollow worries left upon the rejected meal, and the foul greed stained upon the boots, bought with her life's blood. The boundless love of a mother who departed, embracing all his hypocrisy as treasure, eventually became an irreversible guilt, devouring the man's soul. His unreached atonement now pulls him not forward, but into the silence of a home that longs for a voice, where she once brushed the dust from his shoes, called only his name.
What he left behind was not a brilliant jewel. It was only a cold ceiling stone hardened by regret. Only in death did he leave behind a confession that never reached his mother. If there is another life, he asks her to be the mother of her foolish son once more. In that life, he will not be ashamed of the dust upon his shoes. He will finish the warm meal his mother prepared for him and stay by her side until the end. In the Relic, a boss is not simply an enemy to be defeated. There are memories left behind in this world, and sometimes there are confessions that are never spoken in time. But this is only one of many stories left behind in this world. In this world, countless beings born from different desires and regrets, rage and obsession, sacrifice and desire are waiting. Now the remaining stories are yours to discover. In the end, all things become a story. Relic First Guardian. Now, your story begins.